You know, I teach Brazilian history. I've taught Brazilian history for 20 years. I'm one of the few specialists in Latin America who only teaches history of Brazil, many courses. And I think that the situation of the impeachment process against President Dilma Rousseff is illegitimate. It does not follow correct constitutional procedure because we are learning that members of the Supreme Court have been in collusion with politicians to support efforts to impeach the president in order to distract the public against investigations against corruption. Politicians we've learned through release of wiretapping or of tape recordings that politicians have consciously used their influence to try to prevent there to be a continuation of investigations about corruption, and they have basically overturned the recent elections that voted her president with 54 million people voting for her. I think we need to see her return to her post and have free democratic elections in 2018, as the Constitution requires.
Democracy is an indispensable condition for attaining a dignified and socially just future for all of the region's inhabitants. And whereas the international community of Latin Americanists has long stood in solidarity with struggles in defense of democracy. Be it resolved that LASA denounces the current impeachment process in Brazil as anti-democratic and encourages its members to call the world's attention to the dangerous precedents that this process establishes for the entire region. This motion was approved by the Executive Committee of the Latin American Studies Association and now will be voted by the membership in a plebiscite. We encourage all members of LASA to participate in this democratic process, to denounce the undemocratic process taking place in Brazil today. Viva LASA! Viva a democracia!